Alright, hi there everyone, what's up, Matchstick Gamer here, and this is part 2 of the Super Saiyan Blue, or Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan versus Super Saiyan 4 series, and this is only going to be a two-parter, and again, in the second half, we'll have HammerDBZ give his thoughts and views and opinions on this, but that said, before we get into it, just to be clear, this portion will be discussing which one could beat the other one in a fight. And of course, only characters to show this form officially, loosely using that with GT specifically, we have Goku and Vegeta for both sides, being as they are only two characters that have truly achieved these forms that we are aware of currently, both in the Super manga and in the anime of both Dragon Ball Super and in the movie Resurrection F plus GT. So, let's get into it. The rules are fairly simple. We are treating GT and Super as if they exist in different timelines. Well, what do I mean by that? Well, let me put it to you simply like this. If hypothetically we were to say that GT consists and exists in the same timeline as Super takes place, then by default, yes, Super Saiyan 4 would be stronger, but that would make it not very interesting. It also wouldn't make sense and it'd be completely unfair. So, to keep it fair, interesting, and fun, we're going to say that it can take place in completely different timelines. In a more broad term to explain it, so the events of Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z, and then the 10-year time gap that Super takes place in happens, then the end of Z. Then after that, nothing happens. However, for the GT timeline, we're going to say the events of Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z, and then the 10 years time skip that Super would have taken place in, nothing happens. It's just 10 straight years apiece. And then the end of Z, then GT happens. That way it stays interesting, it's fair, it's fun, and it opens up a wider discussion for both myself and HammerDBZ. So, that said, let's get into it, folks. So, now, my opinion before I go into it, Super Saiyan Blue would win. Now I'm going to explain why before everybody jumps on the whole little let's hate on them bandwagon. So let's look at the advantages that Goku of the Super timeline has had over the advantages of, say, Goku in the GT timeline. Goku is trained with gods. He is literally trained with Whis, the most powerful being in their universe. He is receiving training that's helping him overcome his weaknesses that he was not aware of in the GT timeline. Yes, Goku did say, the same technique won't work on me twice. He mentioned that multiple times throughout the series after a character used an attack. Yeah, that's fine, but that's still not necessarily his weakness. That's more of, he learns, but Goku still had the same flaw he's always had. Something that he didn't learn to overcome because, Whis. Thanks to Whis, he's overcoming that. So, let's continue further. So, yeah, he's trained with gods. Training he's never received before. He's achieved Godly Ki, which, mind you, Super Saiyan 4 cannot detect. Goku could not detect Godly Ki because he would not have the training to detect it. So, one of the biggest disadvantages we've seen, and especially if we use Frieza as an example, if you can't sense your opponent's Ki, you're at a disadvantage in battle. It doesn't matter how strong you are or how much you outclass your adversary. If you can't detect their presence, you're screwed. And that's a huge advantage Goku has with the Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan form since it uses Godly Ki. Now some suspect it might use a mix, and that's debatable, but I'm going with Godly Ki since it's clearly different than our normal Ki. So, let's continue forward. And before anybody says, well, Frieza didn't detect anything, because some people have actually said that online, surprisingly. Again, Frieza is not capable of detecting Ki. Frieza never did learn how to do that. Frieza goes off scouter readings. I mean, heck, he still, thinks power levels mean everything when they don't. It's the old saying amongst the fandom, power levels are BS. I'm trying to keep it clean to the best of my abilities, but I may cuss here and there. So, yeah. So Goku has had advantages. He's got plenty of Zenkai boost in this 10-year gap. He got that hole through his gut while fighting Super Saiyan God against Beerus and then coming back. Not to mention the massive amount of damage he recovered from during that fight, too. Vegeta's also obviously gotten a few Zenkai boosts here and there from the training with Whis. I mean, clearly it wasn't a walk in the park. I mean, we've seen that Whis had his share of issues trying to, train Goku and Vegeta. They're difficult to train. In fact, in the latest episode, Whis said, he couldn't train them in the typical fashion. They had to. They learn better by fighting each other, and then ultimately sent them to this other dimension that we're not sure what it is. Some people suspect it's a hyperbolic time chamber 2.0, whatever, but we don't know. That's all pure speculation in regards to that. But he sends them somewhere where apparently they gain a ton of strength in a short period of time, from what we can gather based on what was said. So many advantages are here, and I really can't think of what else to say in regards to that, but Super Saiyan 4, let's talk about that. Goku in Super Saiyan 4, the most we've seen him lift is a city, and Goku in Super Saiyan God was throwing punches at Beerus that were devastating to the universe, okay? And then, even if you don't want to believe that they are capable of destroying the universe with Fist, then we know that they're capable of doing it with Ki. In the Dragon Ball Super manga, we see that Whis and Champa and Beerus are about to throw an energy attack at each other, which would have destroyed the universe, based on what they said. Not to mention, also in the manga, we see that they are clearly, by just kicking things and punching things, destroying planets. They're not using Ki, they're literally using their bare hands and feet to do it. No added energy necessary, so clearly, they're a lot stronger in this version of the timeline, in that regard. And the reason I bring up them specifically, because Goku is so close to Beerus in power, from what we could gather anyways, it's fair to say that Goku and Vegeta are more or less capable of the same feats, or close to it, which would put Super Saiyan 4 Goku at a disadvantage. So, continuing further, another issue we had to talk about is maintaining the form. As you know, as you go higher in Super Saiyan, you struggle to maintain a form. Now, granted, Super Saiyan 4 appears to not be as stressful on the body as Super Saiyan 2 and 3 were. However, it does, eventually run out. You do turn back to normal. We don't exactly know how long he could maintain it if, say, he just did his everyday normal thing like he did with Super Saiyan, so it's difficult to say, but we know he did a lot of instant transmissions over the course of X amount of days before the Earth got blown up, and then ran out. But then, of course, Piccolo saved him last minute and sacrificed himself, something a lot of people don't like about GT. So, ultimately, I think Goku Super Saiyan Blue would win this because it's so much easier to maintain by comparison. It's basically Super Saiyan with a huge power enhancement. And speaking of the training, speaking of power enhancements, Whis is teaching Goku and Vegeta both how to use the most minimal amount of Ki to cause the most amount of damage. Basically, it's described like, okay, you take your fist and put like all your Ki in your fist, throw a punch, and just don't let it leave your body. Let it stay inside, but conceal it right there. You punch, and you don't use any energy hardly, but it feels like you just use full force. Something Super Saiyan 4 Goku and Vegeta lack extremely. But ultimately, that is my thoughts on who will win and why. And I, again, just honestly think Super Saiyan Blue, Goku, and Vegeta have it hands down over Super Saiyan 4 Goku and Vegeta. But, maybe HammerDBZ will have a different opinion for myself, so I'm going to pass it on to you, bro. And, for those of you still watching, make sure you comment down below on who you think would win and why, and don't just put because you like this or that that they win. Actually, state your reasons. Make a legit argument, okay? We're not on a playground, people. We are having a legitimate discussion here. Anyways, so, on to you, Hammer, DBZ.
Hey, guys. So, the whole debate of Super Saiyan Blue or Super Saiyan God or whatever you want to call it is a bit tough because of the continuity of the series and DBZ and GT being two separate series, and it's not as straightforward of a question because we haven't really seen the full extent of the God Ki powers, and I believe we have seen the full extent of Super Saiyan 4, and like I said, with the continuity, the fans like to complain about, if GT is canon or not, and GT being canon or not being canon just adds a whole nother layer to the discussion, but I'm just going to stick with GT as if it's non-canon. Um, I have two main reasons why I think that Super Saiyan Blue or Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan is stronger than Super Saiyan 4. And the first one's God Ki. Now, I'm not saying that just simply having God Ki is just an instant win for anybody, because we've seen that it's not, just because you have God Ki and somebody else doesn't have God Ki means that you just win and just kick their ass right away. But I think it's, every single person can agree, hopefully, that it's a gigantic advantage no matter what. And it really, I think it can be the deciding factor in a battle, because, having your opponent not even being able to detect your ki and essentially making it so they can't attack you as well, just all around, it just makes you, it's an extreme advantage over anybody that doesn't also have God Ki. So I think the fact that the Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan has the God Ki, of course, and Super Saiyan 4 doesn't, is just a huge factor in why I think Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan is stronger. And my secondary reason is that I believe we've seen the extent of Super Saiyan 4's powers. Now, I'm not sure about that. I could be wrong. I haven't seen GT in an extremely long time. But if my memory's serving me right, I believe we've seen the extent of the powers. And in the end, he still has to fuse to be able to defeat Omega Shenron. And like I said, it's kind of difficult because we don't really know, unless I'm wrong, we don't know Omega Shenron's power compared to Beerus or Whis or Super Saiyan God or whatever. But I think for a fact we definitely have not seen the extent of Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan powers, and that form is basically a universe buster, which some fans disagree with. I've seen people disagreeing with that, but in my opinion, you can definitely label them as a universe buster, because as Matchstick Gamer was saying, the fight between Beerus and Champa, they were going to destroy the universe with their Ki Blasts or whatever, and while Goku and Vegeta's forms aren't exactly their power level, we can only assume they're going to get to that power, because they haven't even, I'm pretty sure somewhere they say they haven't even scratched the surface of the God powers. So, and plus Goku and Beerus were actually putting the universe in danger and possibly, ending the universe with just their fists. And that was still a Goku who hadn't even, tapped into the potential of the form and mastered the form. It was a Goku who literally had just gotten the form and didn't even really know how to control it, let alone master it and tap it into the full potential. So, you can only imagine how much more powerful they can become and how much more damage they can do to the universe and basically become confirmed universe busters. So, well, it's hard to kind of argue which is stronger, like I said, because of continuity, canon reasons, and we don't really know. We can't really compare their power levels exactly and stuff like that, but in my opinion, you can use details from both Dragon Ball Z and GT to determine that Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan is definitely stronger than Super Saiyan 4. So, that's just my opinion on it, that Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan would... I really hate that name, by the way, but I hate Super Saiyan Blue even more. So, Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan is just what I'm saying, even though that just sounds ridiculous. But anyway, my opinion is that the Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan would definitely beat Super Saiyan 4. So, back to Matchstick Gamer, man.
Thanks, HammerDBZ. Thank you for giving your thoughts. We greatly appreciate it. So, yeah, a detail that both he and I forgot to put in there is something that some of y'all may bring up, and that is that base Goku and GT was as powerful as Majin Buu. Now, first off, let's eliminate a key detail here. Yes, he was as powerful as Majin Buu, but it did not specify which Majin Buu. Was he talking about Fat Buu? Was he talking about Super Buu, Buu Han, Buu Piccolo, Buu Tanks, or Kid Buu, or the Muscular Buu, or the weird gray one that came out of Fat Buu whenever the good and evil split? Very difficult to say. They did not really go into great detail. Personally, I think they were talking about Fat Buu, and that's just my humble little opinion. But, that said, Goku, in his current state in base form, could easily beat Majin Buu as well, so I don't really think that's a issue there that we need to bring up, since they both be on par in that regard. Another thing to bring up is that Tagoma, the gray guy in the latest episode of Dragon Ball Super, apparently he's on par with Gohan when he was at his best, which was fighting against Super Buu. And I did rewatch that scene a few times. You'll see in my review of the episode that I'll post Wednesday. that Gohan said that he's as strong as I was when I was at my best. And I had to make sure that it was him that said that, not one of the other guys like Krillin or someone, but it was Gohan. It was Gohan, no question. So he's definitely that means that Goku's easily surpassed Tagoma, especially if he had to fight Frieza, who's obviously leaps and bounds beyond that. So I think it's a fair assumption to say that Goku in base and Super is equal to, at the very least, equal to base GT Goku. And that's just in fairness, but I'm pretty sure he's even beyond base GT and Goku. Not to mention he would have a difficult time. Again, there's a sensing issue and all that. So that's just a detail that both Hammer and I forgot to mention in our earlier bits of talking. But going forward, I guess we've both about covered everything here, so thank you all for watching. Make sure to like, rate, comment, subscribe. Check out my official Facebook, Twitter, and Twitch pages. I'll link down below. Also check out HammerDBZ's channel, which will also be linked down in the description. And I greatly appreciate if y'all would subscribe to his channel, and I'm sure he would too. Tune in tomorrow where I will be uploading the next part of my Pokemon Yellow Let's Play. Hopefully I'll get to get my Wartortle to level up so that way we can fight Blaine's gym with Blastoise or whatever Blaine, or I think it's Blaine or is it Blake? Anyways, it's a fire gym leader in Pokemon Yellow, the second to last gym leader. But yeah, thank y'all, and I think that about covers it. Stay tuned to the end where I'll talk about the Indiegogo project I'm working with. So yeah, peace! Alright everyone, thank you for staying tuned to the end. If you did, greatly appreciated. So again, I'm here to talk about the Monstars Plush Anime Gaming and Cosplay Addicts Indiegogo project I'm working with. The goal of the project is to get a plushie of this fella right here made. He's a mascot for a company called Gaijin USA Incorporated, and we'll get into that in a minute. Anyways, we need $7,000 to do this, and we have 600 of that raised, and that's 9% of that funded, and we got 19 days left to reach our goal. And we greatly appreciate whatever you can contribute. Every little bit helps. Anyways, before we get any further into it, so back on to Gaijin USA Incorporated. Perhaps you haven't heard of them, but maybe you're more familiar with one of their other products. If you've ever been to an anime convention or conventions in general, they sell their product there, and that, of course, is the Starbots. And if you're not very familiar with the Starbots for some reason, then the Starbots is essentially an anime and gaming mystery grab bots type thing. It's just a bots full of anime and gaming related merchandise, and it's very awesome. We always have something cool and interesting in there, like we've been putting DSs in there, for example, in some cases. Sometimes we put iPods and things like that in there. Something I personally wanted that wasn't necessarily extremely expensive, but really cool, was a Goku bathrobe type thing. It was themed after Goku's gi from Dragon Ball Z, and it was a bathrobe, and I was like, that would be really nice to have. Anyways, really wish I would have gotten it, but their game, my loss. So currently, yes, we only have 600 of that raise, 9%, and we want $7,000. Here's some perks to maybe convince you to give a little extra if you're interested. 3 bucks gets you a button. 2 out of 1,000 have been claimed, and the button looks like this. All it is a picture of the mascot, and it says I donated. And if you donate $19, you actually get a plushie. 3 out of 400 have been claimed. If you donate $40, you get 2 of them. 3 out of 200 have been claimed. If you donate $90, you get 3 of them. 1 out of 100 have been claimed. And if you donate a whopping $200, that's right, $200, you get 4 of them and a Megabots, which is basically a Starbots, but it's a Megabots, and it's full of it's a mystery box full of anime and gaming items. Now, if you're not familiar with the Monstars, there's a little backstory on them. No one really knows where they came from. The crew of a cargo ship discovered them and unmarked bots that mysteriously appeared in their hold. They have been part of the ship's crew ever since. There always seems to be more and more of them popping up. They love anime and video games to the point that they try to eat geeky items when it's sighted. They can be found reading manga, playing games, and cosplaying when they are not helping Starlo and the crew procure more rare items to transport for a fee. So, very interesting so far. Here's a spec sheet of the Monstar, what it'll basically look like more or less. And then here's an actual plushie prototype, but bear in mind, it will be blue like this, not green. The reason why it will be blue is just because it's cheap and simple to work with. So there's your answer on that. But it'll look more like this, and it'll obviously have more of a point back here in the rear for the tail, but yeah. And of course, if all this goes well and according to plan, we will do, or possibly do, a cosplay line of him, which, here's an example. It's Red wearing an obvious Link outfit from the Legend of Zelda video game series. So, I believe that about covers everything, so I'll leave a link down below in the description of the video for those of you that are interested in donating a little bit, and a link down to the Starbots website in case you maybe want to buy Starbots. But before you drop any money there, please drop a little money here. Like we said, anything you can give us really helps, and we greatly appreciate it, y'all. But I guess that about covers it. Thank y'all for watching. Make sure to like, rate, comment, subscribe. Check out my official Facebook, Twitter, and Twitch pages. I'll link down below in the description. Check out HammerDBZ's channel, which will also be linked down below in the description. And subscribe to his channel, please. Greatly appreciate y'all doing that. And, yeah, stay tuned tomorrow for the next part of my Pokemon Yellow Let's Play. And I think that covers it. So, yeah, peace. Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z/Kai, Dragon Ball GT, and Dragon Ball Super are all owned by Fuji TV, Toei Animation, Funimation, and Akira Toriyama. I do not claim to own any of these. The video and any images that appear were used under fair use.